What's up, everybody? We're back. You just saw me.
Just like a second ago.
Yeah, but we're back, and I got Jesus Ramirez here. Awesome Photoshop tutorials. If you check them out on Instagram, like probably, if you want to learn a ton, just check out his Instagram, and he's always been super helpful. He's had another stream here. He's done some really cool stuff. We're pretty much gonna wrap this up, showing you all the cool stuff we've talked about today with Firefly. What's up, man?
Man, a lot, Michael. Well, as you mentioned, we had a fun-filled day with a bunch of generative AI stuff, Firefly, Photoshop, Illustrator, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I figured that for this stream, I would just show things that people may not know, may know, just do a recap on what you can do with GenFill in Photoshop. So
I love it.
why don't we get right to it?
Generative fill is such a game-changing tool too that like, okay, I can't wait. Let's jump into
Let's
it.
just drive right into it. So here we have basically, and I'll delete these extra files because that's like the finished product. You know, I have to make sure that it works before I actually come here. But as you can see, we have all these files, only two layers really. We have the selfie and this photo of the Eiffel Tower. So one of the things that you can actually do with GenFill AI is create composites. So it allows you to merge images by combining the lighting and perspective and all that of the scene. Of course, you have to do a little bit of that on your own. In this image, you can see that the foreground element and the background element have very similar lighting styles. If this was
Yeah.
a nighttime shot, it probably wouldn't work as well, but it's very similar. Also, wherever you place the tower, it needs to kind of match the scene, right? We can see that the horizon line of this particular image
okay.
is here. Her horizon line is right about
Yeah.
here. So we need to match those so that it's in the appropriate area so that it becomes realistic. Now with generative fill, we can now merge these together. So you have to take into account a lot of things. Like for example, in the image of her taking a selfie, you can see that the sky is overcast.
Yeah.
No, not really blue or anything. The sky here is blue and has clouds and all that stuff. So we're gonna have to replace the sky as well. How are we gonna do that? Very, very easy now with
Okay,
GenFill
here we
AI.
go.
Look at that.
Yes.
All you need to do is lasso tool, and I'm gonna make a selection, and I'm actually gonna go into the tree line because again, we want to replace the sky, right? And also, I want the sky to be visible behind her head. So I'm just gonna go just in here, just inside of her hair, not too deep in, but you know, just enough to get it. And actually, I kind of made a mistake, but I'm gonna go back and fix it. I'm just gonna go into the Eiffel Tower now, and then just select all of this. So there you go,
Oh.
selection is there. Now I want the same thing here at the bottom, so I'm gonna hold Shift, click and drag, and make a selection, and I'm gonna go into her hair as well. And I probably don't need to go too deep in here. Or maybe I do, I don't know, I haven't decided yet, we'll see. I'm just gonna make sure that I select everything here because I wanna merge the grass from the Eiffel Tower to the grass where she's
Yeah.
at. And maybe do a little bit in this area as well. If you feel like you go into an area where you made a mistake, you can hold Alt on Windows, Option on the Mac, click and drag to subtract, boom,
Ah.
there we go.
Can I ask you like
Please.
how perfect do you have to be with your selections or what's
Very
your
very
threshold?
loose
Okay.
for this very loose, and the
Okay.
reason being is that I don't want to be pixel perfect to the edge because I want the GenFill to take into account her body.
Oh.
In this case, it doesn't make much of a
see.
difference, but imagine if there were like a strong light source. I would want that light source on her body.
Yeah.
So in this case, this is pretty good. And maybe even add more of her hair in there just so that we can really get it in there. And all I need to do now
Okay.
is click on generative fill, click on generate, and don't type anything in the prompt. Let Photoshop
Okay, I can't
do
wait to
its
see
magic.
What's gonna happen?
We'll see. So just take a second here,
This is like,
and there you go. Look at that.
oh my, it blends the sky.
It blends the sky, the grass,
That
and everything.
is
And that looks very, very
so
realistic,
insane.
right? So now we can select from one of the variations, right? What variation that we like the best? The first one, the second, or the third. I don't know about you. I'm liking the third a
I
lot.
like that. Yeah, it has that perfect mix of blue and
Yeah,
clouds and
yeah.
everything.
Right. And something I tell people is when you're working with GenFill, if you're gonna, you can, keep adding variations as many as you need, but that's going to bloat your file size. So I tell people, you know what, I know for sure I'm not going to use this first one, so I'll delete it. Maybe I like the second, I like the third. You know what, this one has this stuff here in front of the Eiffel Tower that I don't like, so I'll delete it. So I know for sure I'll like that one. And if I want to just give it one more go just to see if something else pops up that's better, just click on generate one more time. It's going to send it back up to the cloud. There's going to be some magic happening behind the scenes, and it's going to send it right back down to us. And then now I can decide, oh, which of these is better. Now, for example, I like this one, but I now like that one a lot as well. So, you know, maybe I can just keep this one. So you can keep experimenting. But the important thing is that I don't really have to do much work. You know, I basically made a couple of selections, and it created this composite that is very, very realistic, very convincing, and I have a lot of options to choose from. So that is one of the cool things about GenFill AI. It's not that you can just generate one thing over another, is that you can combine things. And also, for example, I don't know what could be fun that we can add here. Maybe this is probably not realistic. I know there's no body of water here, but I can just make a selection here, click on generative fill, and I'll just type something like lake. You know, maybe there's a lake there to the next to the Eiffel Tower now. And hopefully this will generate a lake that has the right lighting, right reflections and all of that. We'll see what happens.
It's just that easy.
It's just that easy. There you go. Look at that.
Oh, and it mirrors the tower. It mirrors the tower. That is. You didn't have to type in like mirror lake or anything.
None of that. It's smart. It's smart enough to figure it out. Oh. And again, you can decide which of these elements is the one that works best for your project. Super, super cool, right?
We did have a question. It was Voodoo Val already answered it. But I want to let everybody know the question was: Is this already included in Photoshop? Yes. Download the latest Photoshop now. It's there, available for everybody.
Full version, no longer in beta.
Yes.
And best of all, available for commercial use. So you can go ahead and make some money with it now.
That agency work. I was just saying this in the last stream. It's I wish these tools were there when I worked for these agencies, because there's always these like last minute deadlines, last minute changes.
Yeah.
For mood boarding especially.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another cool feature is with the crop tool, we now have this option here called generative expand. Previously, we had the content aware fill option. So let me show you the old way and then compare it with the new way. So how about that? So I'm just going to set it to content aware fill, which is what was there in the past. And basically in the past, if I wanted to make this into a horizontal image, maybe for like a Facebook cover or something like that, you know, I would expand and then commit the changes, and then Photoshop will, actually what I need to do now is, let me show you, I'm going to make a selection of all the layers, let me see, Control Alt Shift E to put it all into a layer. And then now I'm going to expand.
What was that? Control Alt Shift E? What is that?
Control Alt Shift D, Command Option Shift D on the Mac makes a new layer based on everything below that's visible.
Oh, wow.
What I like to tell people is you can just smash your forehead up against the keyboard. I'm sure you'll hit those keyboard shortcuts. So again, Control Alt Shift E. It's merge visible is really what the what is properly called.
Oh, I see.
And the reason is because I need to have it all in one layer to do the expand. But you don't need to do that with the new generative expand. But anyway, so once again, I'm going to go into content aware fill, and I'm just going to expand this. Like I said, maybe you need a Facebook cover, whatever you need, YouTube thumbnail, whatever it may be.
Especially for thumbnails, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, so this is the old stuff. Clearly not very good. Now, this is an oversimplification. The content aware fill is basically looking at the current image to generate the additional pixels that we need.
Okay.
Which is why we get this result. GenFill AI is looking at not just this image, but at millions and millions of other images that are primarily found through the Adobe Stock library, and there's other sources as well, but primarily through the Adobe Stock library. So that means that when we expand, we have access to all that information. So let's now compare with the new way of doing this. So with the new way of doing this, I don't need to create a new layer, do anything like that. All I need to do is select the crop tool, and then change the drop down to generative expand and click and drag out. I'll do the same thing, and then I'll generate, and then Photoshop will use AI to fill the areas on the side. So I'll just give it a moment here. And by the way, that includes that fake lake or fake body of water that wasn't really there. You know, it looks at whatever the image is. It didn't do a good job in the hand, but that's okay. We have other variations that we can select. This is definitely much better. It's not perfect, so I kind of like this one, but I really don't like the
Yeah.
hand. So what we could do is we can just come in here and we can, leave it blank and we'll see what it does. And if not, we can give it a prompt. So maybe like
Yeah.
holding phone or something like that.
I mean, you can just imagine how long that would take.
Right.
Just doing it like.
Yeah. Oop. Not the best. But why don't we try a different prompt like holding phone? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just really cool. It's as simple as just selecting something.
Mm-hmm. Maybe,
Uh,
none of the. Oh, she is holding a phone.
She's holding a phone.
Maybe
It's just-
selfie. Probably, and that's. I guess that's the problem. Now we have to figure out the words that'll get us what we
Right.
want.
Yeah. Do you have like a list of like awesome prompts? that
You know what? No, not really. I kind of just try to figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I do have some off the top of my head. Like
Hey.
that was not terrible. But yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier. You can click on
Yeah.
generate and keep generating until you
Just
find
keep
something
going
that,
until something. Yeah.
that you like. But as you mentioned earlier, we're doing this as we're talking, as we're explaining, and we
Yeah.
did it in just a few seconds. Like something like this would
Right.
have taken hours in the
Yeah,
past.
just to do one, and you're not, yeah, right? Like, what do you call it? Clone stamping, and
Yeah,
like
all
all
that
that
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not terrible, but there you go. We were able to expand it. In the expand, we can keep going, right? I don't know how well this is gonna work, but
Yeah.
let's go.
We did get a question. Can you just fill one side only?
Yes, you can. There's two ways you can do that, and I'll explain them as soon as this is then generating.
Okay.
But when I generated the expansion, notice that I expanded outwards equally on either side. And there you go. This is what the oh, look, she's wearing a skirt in this one. So we, pick the
wow,
one that works
is
best.
like
Right? Isn't that incredible?
that is
So
so.
let's answer that question. So can I only fill one side? Yeah, if I just want to fill, say, the right side, I can just click and drag here. And now this area is transparent. There's nothing on the left. What I did earlier is I expanded outwards at the same time. So both sides needed to be filled. This is what I did earlier. But we don't want that this time. We just want one side, which is what the question was asking. I don't know who asked it in the chat, but I'm just going to commit the changes. And what's going to happen now is Photoshop will fill that right side.
Creative expressions and gifts. Asked the question.
Okay, thank you for that question. Yeah. And there you go.
Yeah, that is. Oh man, that second one. Oh, wait a minute.
I think I like the third one. I don't know what you think.
The third one.
Yeah.
Don't
But
listen to me.
As you can see, it's
Yeah.
very, very incredible. So that's one of the things you can do. Another thing that you can do in Photoshop that a lot of people don't know about is you can actually import video. So I have a video file here of this bicyclist coming along. And wouldn't you know it, you can do the same thing with video. So if you just have a regular cell phone footage that you shot portrait,
What?
this will be the footage, right? I'll play it again. That's the footage, right? Portrait. Well, what if I want to, again, use this for maybe like a video and I don't want to have the black, on the sides or whatever.
Right.
You can now just expand this out like so, and I'll commit the changes. And it's going to use GenFill AI to generate the sides, and it will still be a video. So let's see how this works.
I did not know you could do this. That's really cool. So it's Man.
Oh, okay. So people are like, wait, that didn't work. It did work, but we have to realize that when video, we're now dealing with a time. So notice that the generative fill layer here, it's not going to the beginning of the video, right? So I just gotta drag that over here, and look at that.
Oh my gosh.
There it is. I'm gonna hit play, and there's
No.
crazy,
That is
right?
So awesome. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is so sick.
And same as before, we have
Yeah.
variations, right? Which one do you like better?
Yeah.
I think the first one was probably good enough, but you know what? Let's just say that we'll stick with the first one. The other ones don't matter.
Wow.
We'll hit play,
yeah.
and there she is. Now, a couple things. Number one is this only works if your footage is stable. Photoshop does not motion track. But think about it this way. This is why I think Adobe is incredible. The ecosystem, right? I think, in my opinion, that's why Adobe is so powerful. The ecosystem.
For moving from one app to the next app. To the next app?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can make the argument. I wouldn't agree, but I guess arguments could be made that there's a better app than Photoshop for images, and there's another app that's better than Premiere for video or whatever. Maybe, but there is no ecosystem.
Right.
There is no ecosystem. This is far beyond this class, but I could now take these layers and take them into, say, After Effects or Premiere.
Yeah.
And if I had footage that was moving, then I could motion track in those applications. But the file here, this layer, it's already a layer that I can import anywhere, whether it's through a Creative Cloud Library asset or just open up a PSD in Premiere or After Effects, whatever.
Yeah, it's the same with Illustrator and Photoshop. I use them hand in hand together with smart objects, importing from Illustrator, and opening it in Photoshop, and all the layers are intact for extra lighting. It's
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is now that we can say something like, oh, you know what? Maybe I want a red barn here. Why not, right? So I can type in red barn. So now I can, this is almost like dressing up your set, you know? So you can create some pretty convincing graphics here for video, not just a photo, which I think is something that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to these tools. That's not a red barn. That is indeed a barn, but not red. So I can try again. I'll click on generate. So if you don't get what you want, you can click on generate again.
it's still, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and someone, Joshua in the chat wrote, the Adobe ecosystem is why I'm still a customer, and I completely agree. I think that's really what separates Adobe from other brands or other competitors,
Right.
is that whole ecosystem. Yeah, it's not giving me red, but whatever. It's giving me other barns that I think could work. And again, when I hit play, again, same issue. Timeline, you have to work, we're dealing with time now.
Okay.
So we gotta make sure that the layer is long enough to cover the entire clip and that it starts in the beginning. But when I hit play, look at that.
Yeah, wow.
And something that will not work for this is it'll work on a frame, but not as a video. If I come in here and I'll do the same thing and I'll type the word lake once again, we're gonna get a bottle of water, but unfortunately it's not gonna move. So that is one of the limitations
I see. Yeah. So it's kind of, it works perfectly with static images onto a video.
Right.
Yeah.
So as long as the thing that you generate doesn't need to have any motion, obviously
Yeah.
water will, for like a 2-second clip, you might be able to get away with it,
Oh yeah, like that looks perfect. Especially if the
Yeah.
water is like still.
Still, right.
Yeah.
But if we were doing something like this where there's actually waves, then it doesn't work. But again, we go back to the ecosystem, right? So maybe I can take all this, go into Premiere, and then I'm really not going to do this because it's take forever. But one thing I will do is if you go into stock.adobe.com, you have this free option, and you can just type in like water, and you can go into videos, and now you have video. So you might be able to find something that works, right? Maybe not water. Maybe this one. Yeah, I mean, obviously that one's too much, but you get the idea, right? You can find stock images of water that would work, and you can just mask it out in Premiere or After Effects and just overlay it here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the base, the most important thing, is already there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally.
So
This is like blows my mind. I don't have a lot of words because of just. I was always wondering like how people were doing the videos and the generative fills. This is super awesome.
Yeah, there you go. And you can do as much or as little as you want. And at this point you can just get creative, right? So like maybe, I don't know if this is gonna work, but maybe there's like a dirt path going to the barn, right? So I'll type in dirt. Ew, that's not how you spell dirt. Dirt. That's one thing. Now I have to learn how to spell things. I became a designer not to spell things, and I have to spell everything. But the point is that now we can simply just get creative and the videos that works, right? It's just a simple dirt path, right?
Yeah.
And there we go.
Do you know a lot about video workflows? We do have a question about can you add a green screen into it for editing a layer?
I guess you are overlaying an image into a video rather than CGI. Could you add a green screen into it for? Yeah. Okay. So the short answer to that is it'll be very difficult to generate specifically that with the prompt. So what I probably would do is, let's take this red barn for example, right? If for whatever reason you wanted to have green screen behind it, I would literally just make a green layer.
Yeah.
And fill it with that color and. Oops, I gotta bring it up. There it is. And then just mask this out if you needed to, and then save that as your file. But I don't even, to be frank with you, I wouldn't even green screen it because Premiere can open up PNGs which are transparent. So just to export a PNG with transparency and that has the right masking. So I wouldn't even worry about green screening it. It's just too much work in my opinion.
Right.
But if you wanted to have green screen, you definitely could. And that's the beauty of it, right? You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I was just saying that in the last live stream too. It's like I'm typically someone that does stuff the long way. So yeah, it's not the wrong way. It's just maybe it takes a little bit longer, but it might take you to some really awesome places.
It's whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Let me show you guys another. This is actually an example that is on Adobe's website. I made a course for Adobe. It's on the Firefly website on how to use the Firefly site. Although I'm not going to use the Firefly for this, this also works on the Firefly site. But basically, one of my favorite things to do with Photoshop and AI is just add content and replace content from an image. And I think it's like incredible how that works. Like for example, in this image, we have this gentleman walking through the street and he's wearing, white jeans and his hand looks a little distracting.
Okay.
Like if you're thinking about that, you're like, you know what? His hand just looks weird there. Why don't we make him hold something? Okay, well, what is he going to hold? Well, I don't know. Let's have him hold a cup of coffee. And by the way, selections are important. So like I usually like to like draw it out, more or less. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
But because and I'll show you guys another example. So like a cup about that big, I would say generative fill. And I'm just going to type the word coffee. Like sometimes if you just type the word, Photoshop understands the context. Obviously, it's going to be, Photoshop will probably assume that we want a guy holding a cup of coffee, right? So there you go. So look at that. Holding a cup of coffee. So it doesn't look so weird now that his hand is just, just coming up there, right?
So if you elaborate a little on how you make your selections specifically with hands, you're saying you had to be a little careful on the selection part of it?
The shape of the selection.
The shape of the selection, okay.
So I'm going to open up a new document and see if this works. I guess the background doesn't matter. We'll see.
Yeah.
But for example, if I just make a box, right, and then just say the word dog, it'll give me a dog, but there's no like context to that, right? Like if you're going to be facing left, you're going to be facing right, how big is he, like all of that. Like, okay, he's facing left, no, facing left on all of these, right? Mm-hmm. I hope this works. So like if I make something that looks like that, that's his tail, and then this is like his head right there, theoretically we're going to get a dog that's facing right. So let's see if this indeed works.
Okay.
So so this is not like an exact science, but you can definitely influence the shape of the object you generate based on a selection. See, they're all facing right.
Wow. My gosh. Okay.
So
Jesus, this is the tutorial I needed. I know. Sorry, everybody. I want to be selfish. I needed this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's awesome. It's super helpful stuff, especially with the selections and the video stuff. It's just blowing my mind.
Well, I figure that now you guys saw how all this stuff works. I just throw a few advanced tips and tricks if you really want to dive into it deeper.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is why I was a little meticulous when creating the selection, because in my mind, I'm like, well, if this is a real coffee cup, it wouldn't go up that high, and there's no need to.
Oh, that'd be like a tumbler, like a
right.
Yeah.
And even though the AI could be smart enough to say, hey, this is not appropriate to scale, then everything here will be AI generated. But I don't want that. I'm very happy with the natural, so like there's no need for that extra stuff. So there it is. And like what if like, okay, maybe I want a green cup, so I can say green cup of coffee. I don't know. The only reason I said green is because it's the opposite of red and complementary colors.
It's my favorite color. You knew that?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, just for you. Just for you.
Yes. It's actually. Is it my favorite color? It's either
mine is blue, orange.
Oh,
but see, it.
Hey, yeah, it's matcha. That's like a lime. That's like a lime slushy.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think I like the original one better. But anyway, so there you go. Cool. And also, you know what? I don't like white. I'm not okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. When I was like a freshman in high school.
Okay, I love it. Okay,
in high
we got to hear this story.
I thought I wanted to be cool, so I got my parents to buy me white pants. And I was always in art class. I was an art kid, so I showed up to art class and we were working with pastels.
Okay. Let's see where this is going.
I got up after my class and I had a rainbow on my thighs because my thighs were like rubbing up against the table.
yeah.
And I assumed kids will touch and, put the pastels or whatever on other periods. And I just had rainbows on my thighs the whole day. And that was the first and last time I wore white pants.
You know what though? You strike me as someone that has the confidence to just rock it. If
Oh,
that if
God,
that were to
no.
happen to you today,
Well, today, not when I was 11 or what, 13,
yeah, no, I think you would enjoy those pants
Yeah.
today. I would say bring back the white pants, but we're gonna take his white pants away, right?
Yeah, we're just going to make them, blue jeans. Why not? So again, General Phil, blue jeans.
Creative Expressions and Gift says, I feel like I just took a masterclass since I've been on this live. This is a game changer. I feel the same way.
Awesome.
I was focused so much on Illustrator. I knew all the Photoshop stuff, but the stuff that you're showing me now is just like, oh, okay. Look at those designer jeans.
Yeah, there you go. I like those jeans better. They're not going to get so messy with that coffee, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is not only that, look, we added a new element, a cup of coffee. We changed an element, meaning we changed his pants. But we can also do things to the background. Like we can do something fun. Like let me select the polygonal lasso tool here, which allows you to create these straight selections. Pro tip, if you are ever in the polygonal lasso tool and you want to freehand something like this and then go back into the polygonal lasso tool and create those straight lines, what you do is you start with the polygonal lasso tool, click, and it draws these straight lines, right? I'm sure we've all seen that before. But if you hold the Alt key on Windows, which is the Option key on the Mac, it'll allow you to just freehand. And then you can go back by releasing the Alt key to the straight lines. Anyway, so I'm going to do a combination of that. That's why I wanted to point it out. So what
I call that the Spider-Man tool.
Spider-Man tool.
Because you're like,
I love it. And Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. I'm sure that's why you brought it up.
Yep, you know it.
You know it. See, so I switched from those straight lines. I kind of went too deep into his arm there. That's fine. And I'm just, not being super perfect, but, close enough.
Yeah.
I just want to get those edges so that Photoshop knows that I want to, oops. By the way, that right there is called overscroll. If you press Control K, Command K, you can go into under tools, overscroll. So I have that enabled. If I disable it, I can no longer do that. Watch with the hand tool, like see, I cannot move it anywhere. Control K, go back into tools, overscroll enabled. That's what I prefer. I can just move it anywhere. It just allows me to be more, I don't know, it just feels more real to me. Like kind of like a piece of paper, you can move it anywhere. Anyway, so I kind of went too deep into his arm there, and I didn't want to do that. I like to keep enough of the original, but also get enough of it so that Photoshop uses it as context. So I made that selection there and includes that couple walking there. And now I'm going to type in something like, I don't know, like a Venetian canal. Make it seem like he's in Venice. Click on generate, and we're going to get the lights. We're going to get the reflections. Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah, Joshua says he always has overscroll on. It's my favorite, so I always leave it on. Oh, no. Definitely not Venetian. That's more Venetian.
Oh, there you go.
That's not Venetian. Did I spell Venetian right? Venetian. Yeah, I did. Wow. So it only gave me one Venetian option. So I'm going to click on generate again. But you can see how we were easily able to change essentially the location of this photo, right? Because now when somebody looks at this, people will say, oh, yeah, this is definitely Venice. It's not, another place. Yeah. So, and you know what? The incredible thing is the reflections in the water match what's on there, which to me is it's just like, incredible.
It's not just the reflections too; it's the depth of field. When it gets blurrier back there, and you know me, I just love bokeh in every single image. Like, you buy a camera, you buy the expensive lenses for those that bokeh effect, and every photo has that. And the fact that it can generate with that in mind is awesome.
It is just incredible, and we can keep adding whatever we want, and that's the beauty of it. Also, like
you want to add a shark? Don't add a shark.
Let's add a shark. Why not? Let's add a shark. Let's just add a shark. I don't know why I chose that shape.
A shark in Venice.
Yeah, why not? Let's just say shark.
Never stop learning.
I'm hoping that it's like sticky. Okay, so that's it. It's not in the water. All right, see, the thing is, if we wanted to place them in the water, we have to do something that's a little more advanced. And let me show
Okay.
you guys what I mean by that. Because
Oh.
by default, we're generating this at 100% intensity. We need to create the intent. We need to have an intensity that is lower. And I'm not talking about opacity. I'm talking about intensity of the generation. So what we need to do is press the Q key, which will get us into the quick mask mode. You'll know you're in the quick mask mode because your layer will turn red. And that means that we can paint black or white to make a selection. So we'll just do the same shape right there. Oops, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I'm going to fill with black. Black means that it's going to deselect everything. Okay. So now I'm going to make a selection. And I just want this to be 50% selected. So 50% gray will give us 50% selection. So I'll just type 50 here. I'll press OK. And then I'll fill with my foreground color, which is that gray. Alt and backspace to fill with the foreground color. There it is. I'll press the Q key again. So now I have my selection with 50% gray there. Now I'll type in the word shark, and theoretically we're gonna get a shark that is not as intense as the previous shark, meaning it'll blend in better with the background. Okay, so look at the difference between that one and this one. See how this one really didn't blend? This one,
you would just play with the levels of gray to get it more. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's do that again because I wasn't happy with that. So I'll press Q, fill with black. And then make my selection.
Didn't I tell you this is the tutorial I needed? This is the tutorial we all needed for sure.
So the closer we are to white, that gets closer to 100%. Yeah. The closer we are to black, that gets closer to 0. So why don't we just say, I don't know, 35%. Press OK. Fill with that gray. Alt and backspace. That's Option Delete on the Mac. Sorry about that, guys. Oh yeah, no, I did it right. Deselect and press the Q key. The reason that that's not visible is because for the marching ants to show, the selections need to be 50% or more in terms of intensity. We did something that was 35%, which is why it's not showing, but it's still there. So now I'll click on Generative Fill, type the word shark, and theoretically we should get a shark that is even less intense than shark number 2.
So the question is there an important announcement about Firefly? Yes, it's officially out of beta today, and it's available for commercial use for everybody.
You can see now that how we were just the shark now it's like really in there. I'll generate again. So you see how it's now less intense, and it's not lower intensity, a lower opacity. It's intensity. So, look, I guess you can kind of see how they are. Oh, that one's all right.
Bad news for you is we became friends today. You're going to be getting calls from me. Hey, hey, Suze, how do I make this?
How do I make this shark,
how do
bro?
I make this and blend this thing in?
Yeah, and I have another example. I wasn't planning on showing it, but, you know, we're talking about it. So let me just quickly find the file that hopefully illustrates what we're talking about now just a little better. I did a tutorial that was the first one on the internet on this. Now there's a whole bunch, but it was the first one on how all this stuff works. Yeah. And oh man, I thought I had the file here, but the file doesn't matter. I'm sure I have a library asset that will work. I think one.
So also, Cody Bear is asking, could you fake the bokeh with generative fill? I think in a previous stream, I think we demonstrated that you would just generate a different background with bokeh. Mm-hmm. That's that's similar. So I think we had a picture of a picnic, and you would just pick your prompt would be shallow depth of field. Yeah. Picnic.
Yeah,
background.
and again, that'll be hit and miss. So you might have to try a few times, but eventually you might get something that works. Yeah. So the example that I've shown for this is, if I do something that looks like this and just type the word fish. I probably made it a little too wide because I want my fish to be sticking up. So I should have probably made it narrower. But actually, this one's really good.
Whoa! Off the bat.
This is really good.
Oh, with a koi fish too?
But notice one thing. If this was a realistic photo, the intensity underwater will be different than the intensity on top.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So then what we can do is we can do exactly the same technique I showed you earlier. Make it all black because you don't want to select anything. And then this top part here, where the fish is going to jump up, that one will be completely white at 100%, right? Completely white at 100%. And then down here where the fish is underwater, we can do a different percentage. So we'll go so it's probably a little heavy-handed.
I like this. I want to be thinking of everything in grays now.
Yeah.
Like shades of gray. Is that a Nick? No. Yes.
And there we go. You might be thinking, wait, why is the top part selected? Is what we talked about earlier. 50% or more, you see marching ants. 50% or less, you don't see it.
Marching ants, the ant trail.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll just type the word fish. So now if everything worked correctly, the top part of the fish will be 100% intensity and the bottom part will be 35 or whatever. I already forgot what percentage I put in there. And we can probably keep generating a few more times to see the result. But look at this. This is actually
Whoa.
See that? This looks more realistic now. See the bottom part? Because the water particles and the density of the water wouldn't allow you to see the fish at 100% intensity when it's in the water. See that? And you can, we can try again, do another one and see what happens. But this one's probably the best example out of the three that we got. The top part is 100% intensity. The bottom part.
I mean, yeah. The results, especially for this photo, is pretty awesome. Oh.
I mean, that one right there. And compare again. These look great, but when you start really analyzing it, you're like, oh yeah, the bottom part's quite not working that well. How can I fix the bottom part? So these are those little tricks that like really separate you from like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna type in a prompt and really getting into it. And this is what I tell people when they're telling me, oh, well, I'm afraid it's gonna take my job. Well, not really. You still need to know all these different nuances and little different things to like really get it to that next level. Like
if you're a really good designer using these tools, you'll totally optimize these tools rather than an average
absolutely
person, so and developing that eye as a designer is the hardest part.
It is the most difficult part.
Yeah.
And it's funny when, I don't know if this happens to you now, but it really bothers me when like I may be working with a designer next to me like you are, and you might point something out and I'm like, how did I not see that? Like, like what, like 20 plus years of experience, how did I not see that? And it's clear as day,
Right.
So yeah,
that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I think it just happened to me in the last stream.
There you go.
But we have a really, really important question for you. So Creative Expressions and Gifts really loves your tutorial style. I need to know where can this person find.
Yeah, Photoshop training channel on YouTube. Here, I'll show you guys. And actually, I have a YouTube channel where I teach Photoshop, believe it or not.
Bring it up. Yes.
Yeah, Photoshop.
I mean, I'm subscribing today.
Thank you.
Right now, maybe. I have a computer.
Thank you. Photoshop training channel. I'm very grateful to have 2.5 million subscribers, and I have a whole series on I mean, there's that fish example. There you go. And
well deserved. Like, okay.
So a lot of, the Eiffel Tower example, all that stuff, like it's in there, but it's obviously more in depth. But the advantage of having me here now is you can ask a question and I'll answer it. The videos, you're kind of just stuck with whatever.
So ask those questions, everybody.
Definitely. And let me show you guys a couple of, how much time do we have? We have, okay, cool, like 10 minutes or so. Let me show you guys. Oh, you know what? Since we're also talking about Firefly today, let me show you guys something in Firefly that's super cool.
Yes.
And it kind of relates to what we're talking about now, because I'm just going to do text to image and I'll explain what I mean in a moment.
Okay.
I'm just going to do something like modern living room with a fireplace. Well, hopefully this works. And I'll make it into a widescreen and a photo.
Sweet. I was just, trying to buy all these mid-century modern furniture.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture later.
Please.
I did it.
Where do you live?
Austin.
Okay, Texas. Cool. I'm local. I'm an hour away from here.
Oh.
Yeah, I grew up.
I mean,
I grew up like really close to here.
Okay, I was gonna say you're welcome to come by anytime. Teach me some Photoshop stuff.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay, sweet. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about this whole thing is the whole use as reference image, right? So actually, before I do that, I should point something out. I'm just picking one that had a fireplace obviously on the left. The fireplace is not on the right or in the middle. It's obviously on the left, right? So use as as reference image. So then it's going to get us here, and it's going to create similar images where the fireplace will be on the left and everything else is more or less in the same spot, right? Which is great. Now, what I was just showing you guys was intensity. And Firefly, with the website, has something very similar. You can think about the whole, you were talking about talking in gray, so 0 black, 100% white.
Yeah.
There's something very similar in here. When you click on this thumbnail, you'll get this little reference image thing, right? So by default, it's right in the middle. What that means is I can now come in here, and instead of saying modern living room, I can say something like Victorian.
Oh.
Victorian, did I spell that correctly? Living room. Now, do I want it to reference more the reference image or the prompt? Well, maybe the prompt a little more.
That's cool. You have the, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna slide over a little bit. So this is maybe like 70%.
Okay.
You know, in the whole gray thing.
That's cool that it still references, the source imagery.
Yeah.
Too.
So when I click on generate, now it's gonna generate something that hopefully has the fireplace in the same. There you go. See, fireplace on the left, and it looks like a Victorian living room, right? What happens if you go all the way to the prompt? Well, it's no longer going to take a lot of cues from the original image, so the fireplace may be somewhere else on the right, middle, who knows. So we'll see what it does. See how the fireplace is now in the middle?
It changes the perspective a bit too.
Right, because it's no longer referencing the image that much. Now, if I come all the way to the left, this is going to look like a fuzzy image. See how it's fuzzy? Because it's now trying to apply my prompt image on top of that. So the intensity is so low that it just kind of like, you can't really see it. So, 50% or a little bit over is ideal for situations like this where I want to use the reference image, but I want to apply something, create something that's a little different.
Yeah.
So there you go. The windows are more or less in the same spot. Couches are in the same spot. Fireplace is in the same spot. So this is another way in which Adobe, in this case Firefly, is using that intensity that I was talking about, but more on another feature, on the reference image feature. But this is very similar to the Photoshop stuff. You can just think about this slider in Photoshop. 0 will be here and 100% will be here. So this will be black and this will be white in Photoshop. Same idea.
The grays.
The grays.
Thinking in grays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions? If not, I'll open up the next slide. And I know you have something to show, so let me know when it's your turn.
I mean, you want to take a break? Or actually, no. Let's show all this stuff first.
Okay.
And because I want to keep all the photo. It's Photoshop, right?
Right. This is all Photoshop.
Keep all the Photoshop stuff together.
Keep all the Photoshop. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me see. I have another tip here. Okay, great. So we have this image here, and just to make everything like more concise and don't confuse anybody, I'll just delete all these layers because we don't need them, right? So a lot of times when we're working with GenFill, we might want to add an element, right? So in this case, why don't I add like an old red truck, right? Old red truck, and it's gonna generate. And
an old red truck.
Yeah.
That's
There we go.
Oh.
Old red truck, right? Which one do we like best? I don't know. We'll go with
the first one.
yeah, the first one.
The first one was
amazing, right?
Yeah.
Look at the lighting, the shadows, everything's great.
Where do you even get that?
Adobe Firefly.
That's right.
So
the down payment on that thing. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
So, this is a great truck.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But you know what? I don't like the positioning and I don't like the scaling. So what if we just move it here and maybe, make it larger or whatever? Like, oh my God, like this is not going to work because now, the background doesn't work. You can click on generate again, but the problem is that it's going to generate a new red truck. It's going to look great, but it's not the same red truck. Watch. See, it's a different truck. It's not the same one.
I mean, that truck is okay.
It's okay, but we we like that one.
That one is so cool. Yeah.
So what do we do now that we moved it and scaled it? How do we make it work? Well, just like we did with any other photo in the past, right? So select subject to have the AI make the selection for us. And then we can click on delete the layer mask, the original layer mask, and then just make that into a layer mask, and there it is.
Boom.
And now we can, with the brush tool, we can work on like the details, right? Because the grass, we still want some of those shadows, right? So we can just paint with white on
this is insane.
on that truck,
Right.
and
You
there
can
it
even
is.
like create like a mound right there.
Yep.
That is, oh.
And then right there's a harsh line. So we, have, again, just like in the past, just
Yeah.
Photoshop that out. Or if you really wanted to, you can come here and make a selection around that area and then just have generative fill take care of it for you. Up to you. But that's, again, I keep driving this point home. Yes, AI is amazing. It can generate things for you. But you being a master of your craft, you should be able to take that even further where
Right.
the AI won't, quote unquote, replace you.
Yes.
And there we go.
Yes.
Whatever works best.
100%.
Pretty cool. Now, in this case, if we wanted to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I want to have the truck, like, come down even further. What I probably would do in this case is just maybe like regenerate this. I'm hoping, I don't know if it will happen. I'm hoping that it generates the reflection. We'll see if it happens.
Will this be available for replay? Yes, it will be.
Yes, it's on YouTube as we speak.
On
and
Adobe
on
Live.
Adobe Live, that's right, the Adobe Live YouTube channel.
Perfect. The perfect tutorial to end this on, just because it's like so mind-blowing.
Yeah, and see, it added the edge here where the truck is standing, and it added the reflections. Look at that.
That is
So, I mean,
insane.
the sky is
I'm
the
like a
limit now, as they
broken
say. Pretty cool. I guess I can show, I have a couple more examples, and I know I'm going to give you at least 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just wanted to cover Illustrator, and it'll take really quick. So feel free to do what you do.
All
Because
right.
actually, I mean, it's incredible.
Thank you. Let's see. I know I have a file here.
I feel like I want to grab a drink with you after this.
Let's do it, man. There's a bar down the street.
Let's invite everybody in the live
let's go.
stream.
Yeah,
Hey, everybody.
Can you imagine if we just invited everybody to the bar and we walk over and there's like 1,000 people there?
Take the bar over.
Yeah, why not? Let me see. Here's a fun fact. Actually, no, I won't talk about that now. I want to show something else. This is the one. Is this the one? Yes, this is the one. So cool.
Here it is.
So here it is. So empty room, right? And we can use GenFill to create all kinds of cool stuff, right? Like you were talking about furniture earlier.
Okay.
We can add a couch here, and we can just say something like, I don't know, like we talked about the color combinations we like. I like orange, so I'll say orange couch, orange and blue couch.
Yeah, green wouldn't be great in this one, I think.
Right.
We need some contrast in here.
Right. So we'll say.
Oh, you're like, I'm holding my tongue because I just want to talk about furniture all day. Because
Is that your thing? You're a furniture person, or?
Not usually, but I'm just in that mode right now because I'm trying to buy some cool stuff.
And this is a fun couch without any legs. Why not, right? Why not? And also I can do something like, oh, you know what? Maybe there's like a wooden table here, right? Like wooden table, whatever you want, right? Let's see what type of
wooden. This is great for like inspiration on your home decor too. Like, I typically go straight to the leather couch, but I've realized lately that like this looks way more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah.
And
you know what? But what if maybe we want like a really, really, let me look at the other tables before. Yeah, that round one works fine. I know it's not perfect, but whatever. But what if we want like a really, really like reflective table, like something that's like really shiny? I can
like
mess
glass
around. Yeah, like just really polished wood, right? And sure, we can definitely mess around with prompts until we get something that will get us where we want to be. But we could also try to get creative, and I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll try it. I'll just make that selection there, and I'm just going to literally type the word mirror. I hope it works, mirror, because I want Photoshop to generate a mirror. I made it bigger than the table so that I have opportunity to mask it out. So let's see what it does here. I'm hoping it generates a giant mirror. Perfect.
Ooh,
it generated a giant mirror.
Gosh,
perfect, right? So what I'm going to do now is just fill that with black. Alt and backspace, fill that with black. Now I can paint with white on the surface of this table, and obviously I can get a better selection or a better edge if I had more time. But you know what? This is going to be good. There we go.
Oh.
There we go. So now I have it's like a glass top, right? But I said really polished wood. So I can now change the blending mode to something like screen, and then reduce the opacity.
It's like that.
See? So now,
Dude.
there you go. Look at that. You have old school Photoshop tech, blend modes, layers, opacity, all that mixed in with new technology. But notice how I thought I need a reflection. How can I get a reflection? A giant mirror, you know? There you go.
That is incredible.
Right? And also like, I'm sorry?
I don't know. I love that you're like mixing traditional Photoshop techniques and with this it's just, yeah, you're just an endless mind blower.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm lost for words there. It's been a long day, but a great day.
Yeah, and you know what? Why don't we do the same thing? Like I'm gonna try to create like a really like a very like glossy floor. I don't know if it'll work, but this selection, of course, is very, very loose and not the best in the world. But with the time frame we have, I just noticed in the chat that was it Joshua that said that they would
wants
have
to grab a drink with us.
Drink with us, yeah.
Yeah.
If you make it down to San Francisco tonight.
Yeah,
sure.
Joshua, let's go.
Yeah. And the thing is I take these opportunities when I come and see you guys here at Adobe San Francisco to talk about Photoshop, because nobody at home wants to hear, like my fiance doesn't want to hear me talk about Photoshop. And
I bet she secretly loves it.
Oh no, she doesn't. She doesn't. No, she doesn't. She's never seen me. I've done over 50 conferences, but she'll see me present at Adobe Max this year for the first time. So we'll be married by then. So by then, she says she'll.
Congratulations!
Thank you,
man.
Let me see if it works. Reflective wooden floor. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll give it a try.
Oh, okay. We're doing. Oh.
Because I want to get the reflection of the couch and all that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I do like...
All right.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'll do?
It makes me...
I don't like it. I'm going to just type in the word mirror, see if that works.
It still kind of did it, but yeah. You got the window. You can still kind of see the couch in there.
Yeah. I was hoping it will keep the... I can probably do that whole intensity thing and maybe get it to work, but I like the original wooden panels, you know? Oh, the mirror definitely made it work.
Yeah. Oh, with the rug too.
Yeah. Okay, well in this case it wasn't very successful, but you get the idea. You know what I'm wondering now? How much time do we have? You know what? It's your turn.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I just want to just cover what's available on Illustrator. It's really generative recolor. If we could switch over to my screen here. We just went over this about an hour ago too. This is out of beta as well. Ignore my, I think if my window says it's in beta, ignore mine. Right here, I can make any selection of anything I make in Illustrator. And if I click on Recolor on my Properties panel, and under Generative Recolor, I can type in any prompt to change this. Can you give me a really cool one really quick?
Why am I blank? Like, how about...
I know, I put you in the spot.
How about something like colorful pastels? Or something like that. Like I just saw the Barbie movie, so I have that color scheme in mind.
Oh, colorful pastels. Oh, colorful pastels. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're short on time, but I just wanted to show you that this is available and ready for commercial use on Illustrator. So we got some. We got some here. We can keep generating if we didn't like those results.
How about this? I was thinking of like autumn, like something with autumn or like fall. I'm thinking like now brown, reddish color. So like
fall season.
Yeah, fall season.
We need one more word.
Fall season.
Fall season.
There we go. We're too tired.
We're 90s
But
neon.
there you go. See, that's what I had in mind, the top left.
Right here. Boom, boom. And really quick, because we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon, everybody. Really quick here, I just want to show that it works incredible with, even if you have a ton of detail like this. I have a bunch of highlights, a bunch of shadows. We go to Recolor, Generative Recolor. Someone said 90s neon. Boom, let's do it. 90s neon.
That's a good one. That's much better than we came up with.
Oh, dude. Okay. Okay. I can tell you this last one is gonna be killer. Yes. Like, look at that. It just retains all the detail in Illustrator. Like I said, that all the stuff that we're showing you today is available for commercial use. All right, let's wrap this up, everybody. Thank you for coming in. The big news today is that Firefly is out of beta and ready for commercial use. Thank you, Jesus Ramirez, for jumping on. This was the best. This is exactly what I needed. I think this is what everybody needed. It's the perfect way to end
and I
this
just
show.
Want to show off the shirt. I love Photoshop.
Oh, and I like my sweater. But heck yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.